Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we'll be talking about the moral majority and why I think it was not only a success, but something we should be doubling down on. So, I wrote an article for Evangelical Dark Web that will be published alongside this video. So, I'm going to read what I wrote, and you can comment below what you think about what I think, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. But I think the moral majority was a success. So here is what I wrote. Too often, conservatives are criticized for focusing too much on the next election as opposed to the next generation. This has certainly proven to be the case where our culture is so entrenched in government that we believed that we need all these taxes and all these entitlement spending. Meanwhile, the country has drifted to the left on almost every major issue, with some important exceptions. While the conservative base of the American population has since recovered from the George W. Bush experiment of left-of-center Republican presidents, those 8 years of Bush did nothing to inspire the next generation of conservatives like Ronald Reagan did. In fact, the Bush years were a detriment. But Ronald Reagan is long dead. Those who knew not Reagan are not as inspired by him as generations that grew up under and voted for Reagan. But since Ronald Reagan, the Republican Party has been an ineffective political apparatus, with sparing exceptions. But those exceptions are not because of a single political figure. They are, however, to be credited with a larger political movement that inspired a generation who would later take the very action that previous generations were too cowardly or too liberal to take. In American history, no generation was more leftist than the boomers. The Frankfurt School was game planning how to turn America into their dystopian state via cultural Marxism. If we look into who is in control of the institutions, it is clear that the long march through the institutions was executed by the boomer generation. However, the rise of Ronald Reagan inspired Gen X, the generation after the boomers, to be more conservative than their parents. In American history, but this is not to discount the past. The moral majority built a coalition, a voting bloc that became firmly entrenched in conservative politics. Evangelicals were swayed by Jimmy Carter because he was a liberal Baptist in 1976. The consolidation of the evangelical voting bloc was ultimately instrumental in the cultural formation of the latter generations of abolition Christians who want to end abortion in the United States. In truth, previous generations never took the issue of abortion as seriously. Read the opinion of Roe v. Wade. Abortion was never really criminalized in U.S. history, according to the Supreme Court. This failure to act led to the greatest stain on our nation. In the Bible, the worst kings in the Old Testament passed their children through the fire of Moloch. This they had in common. Baby murder is nothing new in human history, and it is a sign of societal decadence. The moral majority was a successful instance of terraforming a generation to be more conservative on a single issue. This is a movement to build upon, not reject. This is something to learn from, not forget. There is a reason why the fall of the Southern Baptist Convention was largely orchestrated through the ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, the long march through the institutions seeking to sabotage the abortion abolition movement. Now, for the first time, Texas law recognizes an unborn baby with a heartbeat is a human being. For the first time in their history. Ending the scourge of abortion will terraform our nation on more issues than just abortion. Now is not the time to be ashamed of the moral majority, as so many woke evangelicals would have us do for nefarious reasons. Now is the time to double down on this movement and win the next generation. So that's all I got to say about that. Like I said, that's what I think about this issue. I think the moral majority was a success because we are terraforming a more pro-life generation, or abortion abolition, since I prefer that term actually. And I think we are on the cusp of maybe ending the issue of abortion. But I just wanted to issue a hot take. And we shouldn't be ashamed of the moral majority. Like these people like a Karen Swallow Pryor, a Russell Moore, they want us to be ashamed of this past movement because it worked. It worked. It changed the political landscape in the United States for the better, when if you look at the previous decades, decay was rapid. So let me know what you think about what I think, and I will catch you on the next one.